The morning air carried the scent of fresh rain as I stepped into my grandfather's garden. The old wooden gate creaked behind me, the same one I used to swing on as a child. It had been years since I last visited. Life, college, and distance had slowly created an invisible wall between us. Yet, when I saw him sitting on the porch with his cup of tea, his familiar smile made time disappear for a moment. "Grandpa," I said softly, walking toward him. His face lit up with warmth, though age had carved deep lines into it. "Mia, my little sunshine," he chuckled, patting the seat beside him. "I was wondering when you'd finally come see the house I bought you." I froze. "What house?" He turned his head, eyebrows knitting together, as if I had just told him a terrible joke. "The one I bought you, of course. Didn't your parents show you? I sent them the money 2 years ago after you graduated. It was meant to be your start in life." My mouth went dry. "Grandpa, I never got a house." He set his teacup down slowly, his trembling hands spilling a few drops on the table. His eyes clouded with confusion and disbelief. "But your father said you moved in already. He even sent me pictures. I thought you were happy." My heartbeat thundered in my ears. "Pictures," I whispered. "Grandpa, I never saw any pictures. I live in a rented apartment near work. There's no house, no gift." His face drained of color. He reached into his coat pocket and pulled out an envelope, shaking as he handed it to me. Inside were printed photos of a grand villa, gleaming marble floors, and a wide garden. My parents stood smiling in front of it. I felt the blood leave my face. This is your house?" he asked, his voice breaking. "No," I murmured. "It's theirs." Silence settled between us, heavy and cruel. The sound of wind through the trees felt louder than ever. My grandfather's shoulders slumped as if carrying a weight too heavy for his frail frame. "They promised me," he whispered, tears forming in his eyes. "They swore it was for you. I trusted them, Mia." I swallowed hard, my chest burning with anger and heartbreak. "You didn't fail me, Grandpa," I said softly. "They did." For the first time in my life, I saw him look truly defeated. His eyes, usually filled with quiet strength, now held only sorrow, and in that moment, as I wrapped my arms around him, I made a silent vow. I would uncover the truth and make things right. The question he asked me that morning would become the beginning of everything. That night, I couldn't sleep. My mind kept replaying my grandfather's trembling voice, his words echoing like thunder. "They promised me, they swore it was for you." I stared at the old photographs lying on my bed, my parents smiling proudly in front of the villa that was supposed to be mine. Every detail in those pictures mocked me. By morning, I knew what I had to do. I drove to my parents' house, the very one in the photos. The tall iron gate opened with a slow groan, revealing the gleaming white walls of Betrayal. Mom greeted me at the door, surprise flashing in her eyes. "Mia, you didn't say you were coming." "I didn't plan to," I said flatly, brushing past her into the living room. Everything looked perfect, polished, expensive, fake. Dad was reading the newspaper, his usual calm demeanor hiding whatever guilt he carried. "I talked to Grandpa yesterday." I began. He asked me if I liked the house he bought for me. For a split second, both of them froze. Then Dad cleared his throat. "Oh, that old misunderstanding. I interrupted. "He sent you money to buy me a house. He thinks this is mine." Mom crossed her arms defensively. "Mia, calm down. Your grandfather wanted to help, yes, but we used the money for something better, for our family. It's all the same." "No," I said sharply. "It's not the same." I saw Dad's jaw tighten. "You don't understand how hard things were back then. We needed that money to secure our future. You were young, you didn't need a house." A bitter laugh escaped me. "So, you stole from both of us and called it family." Their silence said everything. Later that evening, when they refused to talk further, I went digging. In Dad's office, I found a locked drawer, easily opened with the spare key he still didn't know I remembered. Inside were bank statements, transfer receipts, and a property deed signed not by me, but with a forged version of my signature. My stomach twisted. They hadn't just lied, they had broken the law. When I confronted Mom again, her voice was cold. "We did what was necessary. You'll understand when you have a family of your own. No, I whispered, tears burning my eyes. I'll understand what not to become. That night, as I left their house, my heart was shattered, but my purpose was clear. I drove straight to Grandpa's home. When he saw my face, he didn't ask a single question. He just held my hand and said quietly, "You found the truth, didn't you?" "Yes," I said. "And I'm not done yet." After that night, I stopped crying. The pain was still there, sharp and deep, but I turned it into something stronger, purpose. My grandfather deserved justice, and I deserved the truth to be set free. Every lie my parents told had built a wall between us, but now I would tear that wall down, brick by brick. I began quietly. I met with Mr. Collins, my grandfather's longtime lawyer, a kind man with silver hair and sharp eyes. When I explained everything, he looked at me gravely. "Your parents forged legal documents, Mia. That's fraud, but we'll need solid proof to reclaim what's rightfully yours." I have the bank records, the deed, and Grandpa's signed letter from when he transferred the funds, I said, sliding the papers across his desk. He studied them carefully, then smiled faintly. Then we have a case. For the next few weeks, I lived two lives. During the day, I went to work as if nothing had changed. At night, I studied contracts, property laws, and financial trails. Every receipt, every signature became a clue. My parents thought they were safe because I was their daughter. They never imagined I'd be the one to expose them. Meanwhile, Grandpa's health was fading. Each time I visited him, his hands trembled more, his voice weaker. "Don't fight them too hard, sweetheart," he would whisper. "Just don't let them take your kindness." "I won't, Grandpa," I promised. "But I also won't let them win." Finally, after weeks of gathering evidence, Mr. Collins called me. "It's done. The court has approved the fraud claim. The villa is being transferred to your name." I could hardly breathe. "It's really happening," he nodded. "Justice has a quiet way of returning what's stolen, but I didn't stop there. I also ensured that Grandpa's financial records were corrected, his name cleared of any supposed family loans. Everything they took under his trust was reclaimed. I didn't need revenge through anger. I wanted them to face the truth in silence. A month later, on Grandpa's 82nd birthday, I invited him to a small dinner. He was surprised when I handed him a small, neatly wrapped box. Inside was a single sheet of paper, the new property deed. His hands shook as he read the name, Mia Richardson. He looked up, tears filling his eyes. "You did this." I smiled through my own tears. "No, Grandpa, we did this. You gave me faith. I just gave it a voice." That night, for the first time in months, I saw him smile, a real, peaceful smile. And in that smile, I found my revenge not in their ruin, but in our redemption. The sun was setting behind the hills when I stood before the house, my house, the one my grandfather had always meant for me. The white walls glowed softly in the amber light, the garden blooming just as he once described. It no longer felt like stolen dreams, it felt like peace. It had been 3 months since the court officially named me the rightful owner. My parents' world had quietly crumbled, their accounts frozen, their reputation fractured. Yet, instead of satisfaction, what I felt most was stillness. Revenge had been sweet, but forgiveness was freedom. I spent the following weeks restoring the house. Every corner carried a promise of new beginnings. In the front room, I created a small memorial for Grandpa, framed photos of him, laughing, reading, and holding my hand when I was little. Beside them, I placed a single quote he loved. "Kindness is not weakness. It's strength remembered." One morning, I heard a knock at the door. When I opened it, my parents stood there, thinner, quieter, shadows of the people I once knew. My mother's eyes were swollen, her voice trembling. "Mia, please, we've lost everything. Your father and I, we made mistakes. We just want to talk." I looked at them, feeling the weight of years of lies, yet also the faint ache of love that never truly vanished. "Talk," I said softly, "or justify." Dad lowered his gaze. "We thought we were protecting our future. We didn't realize we were destroying yours." There it was, not quite an apology, but the closest they could come. I could have slammed the door, shouted, or told them to suffer. But I remembered Grandpa's voice. "Don't let them take your kindness." So I simply nodded. "I forgive you," I said, and their eyes lifted in surprise. But forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting. You built this house on lies, and I rebuilt it on truth. That's the difference between us." Mom began to cry, but I stepped back, letting the door close gently. No anger, no hatred, just peace. Later that evening, I sat in the garden, watching the last light fade. The wind carried the scent of roses and rain, Grandpa's favorite mix. For a moment, I could almost hear his voice beside me, calm and proud. "You kept your promise, my sunshine." I smiled, whispering to the quiet air, "Thank you, Grandpa. You gave me a home, not just walls, but a heart." And as the stars began to rise over the house that once symbolized betrayal, I finally felt it, the soft, healing warmth of closure. The house he bought me had become exactly what he intended, a place where truth, love, and forgiveness could live forever.